show that guitar too.
Yeah, I don't need to be in it. I'll just do this.
No. Yeah. Definitely.
This hangout is live on air. Hey, this is Johnny Beane. Hey, this is a special hangout tonight. I have a lot of cool people in this hangout. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves? Eric and David, go first, and then everybody else.
Hi guys, Eric Broadbent, Ontario, Canada. Thrilled to be here with everyone once again tonight, and we'll have some good stuff for you this evening.
This is David Wright. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee.
Go ahead, Paul.
I'm the artist formerly known as Unk.
Dave Nesdahl here.
Rob Johnson, how are you guys doing tonight?
Rob Johnson's Steinberger, and me, Anthony Sajazi. How are you?
You give it so much complimenting.
I'm giving it so much love.
Yes,
I can't let it go. I've never played a Steinberger before today.
You keep molesting it all you want. It's okay.
Massaging it.
Massaging, not molesting.
You're such a misogynist.
Looks great. Looks great. So hey, we did one of these hangouts with Paul. When was that? Was that a week ago?
It was about
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, cool. Very cool. Yeah, there's a lot of people that want in. We already have like 14 viewers already. It's climbing.
Cool.
A lot of people have questions. I'll handle whatever questions. If you have a question for Paul or for David Nesdahl, for Rob Johnson, for Eric Broadbent, Anthony, Alan Wright, if you have questions for anybody, me, Howie, please, the easiest is to message me on Facebook. Okay? Send me like the way Alex just did. Okay. Message me on Facebook your question, and I can let you in here. Or tweet me at Johnny Beane or at Kramer_5150.
And
So-
one thing, for God's sakes, do not call in.
Yeah.
Yes. Do not call me. Do not call me on Google Plus, please.
Operators are not standing by.
That just creates nothing but problems. And yeah. So cool. Okay, we're starting to get everything. Oh dang.
Let's do it.
Johnny, I just want to say one thing real quick. I'd like to say, first off, it was a pleasure driving out to see Dave and Anthony today. It was a great drive out this morning. Beautiful day for it. I had a lot of time to spend hanging out with Dave, playing some guitars and posting stuff on Facebook. Met up with Anthony in New York City, downtown Manhattan this afternoon, and then I just want to say thank you very much to Mr. Paul Unkert for having us at his residence, and we got a chance to go out and have some dinner with him. Just the stories and the good times, it's been fantastic. So thank you, Paul, for having us at your house.
It was a pleasure.
Really
Thank you as well,
Yes.
Paul. Thank you very much.
Yes.
And you can blame Paul for us being late.
Wait, that's not what you said in the restaurant.
Oh, that's right. You can blame my stomach for being late.
Well, this is crazy. This is awesome. It's so glad. I'm happy to see you guys all in one room together. I mean, this is like I predicted. I said the last hangout. I'm like, I bet next time we see you all on one screen, and here you
did
are.
it.
Yeah.
You know, very
Yeah,
cool.
We all have new haircuts too. We all have new haircuts.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Do we have
I
questions?
can't show you my haircut.
Oh. Paul Rodden. Yeah, the Sofa King.
Rodin.
Here we go.
Oh, so I'm the Sofa King. Paul is saying, I guess.
Do we know this
Thanks.
guy?
Paul Rodin's a good
Okay,
guy.
good.
Sofa King cool.
Paul Rodin, Davin, Josh Smith, Alex Zipkin, Vinny. Oh, we're starting to go crazy here.
Don't call Vinny.
Yes, Vinny. Do not call me. Don't call me Vinny.
What's David doing? Building guitars?
I think he is. Yeah.
Can't call me Mr. Johnson. Remember that, Paul?
He's working on schematics.
Johnson, remember that?
Yes. Oh, Eric Broadbent's son is watching this.
Yes, he is.
Nice. That's cool, Eric.
Everybody. Oh, we're up to 28 live viewers. Yeah, we're going crazy.
Cool.
All right,
So
Tonight.
that's like 14 in about 2 minutes.
Ah, here we go. All right, so I'm getting some questions here, but what do you guys want to say? What do you want to talk about?
Anything they want to talk about.
Well, hey, as long as we have some guys in here like David Allen Wright, he's a staple. Eric, he's a staple. David Allen, what do you want to ask Paul?
I got a question.
I'll be right back.
It's an honor to talk to you, Paul. I have to say thank you so much for doing this tonight.
It's a pleasure.
All right, I wanted to ask a question. It's always baffled my brain for years and years, since 1984, about the Kramer 5150 neck that you made. This one here, if you can see it. I've got
Okay.
it's a black and white picture. I've always wanted to know, is this actually a straight line across here, or is it actually built with a hump with the tuners drilled where that it makes like a hump here?
The top half of the guitar. Is
So
it on the arc or is it straight?
Yeah, I tell you what, you know what? Those necks were all made so by hand. Everything was a little willy-nilly, and all the tuners were attached just so they didn't hit the wall, the side wall, you know? So you're probably right. It probably is straight. It is straight. Yeah, you're right. And you know why? Because I would sand that on the edge of a disc sander, which was a straight thing, you know? So you're right. That is straight.
Yep. That's what I always wanted to know from the dimensions. I'm more of an engineer, so sorry about this, but I look at it from an aspect of this is a straight line, but each one of these tuners is drilled at an angle going down.
Right. Because we just wanted to make sure the buttons would clear the side of the headstock and not interfere with the side.
See, it's like the hump, and then
Right.
here's the other type of necks that you can see that are actually looks like more straight.
That's straight. That's the old Ibanez shape.
Yep. Gotcha. Okay. That was my only major question. I had to ask that. Thank you.
Leave it to an engineer.
Good question, Dave. Good question.
Now, David, I have to say that those necks, those were made with knives and stone axes, okay?
Wow.
We didn't have many very good tools back then.
Kramer
It was the
caveman.
Stone Age.
Chisels, rocks, and hammers.
Yep.
Yeah, Dave, I don't know if you knew this, but the bedpost that Paul used, his grandfather's bedpost, wasn't maple either. It was walnut, you say?
Birch. It
Oh,
was
birch. It's birch. Yeah. So the added pieces of wood is birch.
Not maple.
Yep.
Which is a maple substitute, actually.
Yep. So one of these days I need to make a neck with birch in it.
Yep.
Yep.
As long as they're straight back and not tilt backs, you'll still get that Van Halen tone.
Or,
Yep, straight back.
Yeah.
I actually
This
have
stuff, Dave.
a Kramer guitar with a Stratocaster headstock. It's in the back bedroom.
Oh,
I can
cool.
show it to you if you want to see it later.
Yeah, those are rare. Those are ESP necks.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, you have any questions?
I've just got one. I had a few notes I took down, and Paul, first of all, I'm thrilled to be in your presence as well too. It's kind of, I feel like I'm in the presence of Neil Armstrong and you know what I mean?
Don't do that to me, man.
No, listen. You've brought amazing things to the table. I'm just wondering what is something that you learned from Edward yourself? Can you say one thing that you took from him that was as a builder and a craftsman and a luthier and engineer, the whole works, guitarist? What did you learn from him?
I'll tell you what, you know, I continually admit that Eddie is one of the best guitar players of the 20th century, and that guy could play one note in a black room, and I could tell who it is, you know, by one note, and it still makes the hair go up on the back of my neck. He was easy to work with when we were building guitars. We were having fun. But he was particular about how he wanted things to feel, you know, especially about the necks. You know, he wasn't that concerned about balance or anything. You know, the paint jobs were willy-nilly, but I think the most critical thing was how he wanted that neck to feel. And with the setup also. You know, he liked setup with nines, low action, you know, and that was the real critical thing, was the neck and the setup.
Yeah.
Right on. That's great. Very cool. And I've heard that as well before too, where he would, you know, he could hit a note somewhere and anyone could tell who it was, just one note. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, Paul. Thank you.
He's got such great tone, that guy.
So now everyone knows definitively, no matter what has been said in the past, that Eddie did like low action on his guitars. It was
Yes.
never high. It was,
Well,
you know.
I heard. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I heard that basically he would lower it down until it would like basically fret right out, and then just ease it. I've said this a lot of times with that clutch. Remember we talked about this in other calls. We talked about a bad clutch in your car.
Yeah.
And only you can drive your car with a bad clutch because you know how to beat it. And Ed would lower it right down to it buzz out, and then just a millimeter or two up, and then there you go.
Personally, I do the same thing. In fact, if my guitars buzz acoustically, I'm fine with that, as long as they don't buzz through an amplifier.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much the same way he liked, I mean, he ran everything to 11. I mean, he'd lower the action at the point of buzz and then back it off a little bit. He turned his amps up to 11 and then just, to the point of just can't even control and back it off a little bit. Everything he did was to 11 to the point of no control and then just turn it back just a tad. That's how he always rolled with pretty much everything.
Racehorse out of control and just putting a bit of a throttle on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
So, Paul, tell us a little bit about the headstock design on those guitars, the different sizes, or how you came up with the different sizes, the templates.
I don't know if I have the exact answer to that question, but the first headstock shape was taken off the original Ibanez Destroyer that Eddie gave me to copy. That was the first project we did at Kramer, and it was an Ibanez Destroyer that he cut out. Let's call it the ass end of the guitar and put a turnbuckle in there. And that was the first drawing. How we came up with other shapes, I tell you, I can't even remember why or how we did that. It was just done willy-nilly. David, as an engineer, you have to realize, we really had no formal education in engineering or design, and it was all just done right off the cuff, as we used our artistic expression, if you will, or artistic license to do what we wanted to do. I always felt that the smallest of the three necks was a little too small, though. I think the middle one, which is the 5150, that was my favorite headstock shape.
Yeah, that's that one.
That one there, yeah.
The headstock that's on the Kramer Ad guitar, the Walker body, that's the largest of the headstocks. Yeah. And it's a wonky thing, yeah.
There's the big one, yeah. So those are the two best ones right there.
Yeah.
So Paul, tell us about working with Eddie and making these different necks. Everything like you're saying is one-off. It all happened in a really short period of time, like a year and a half or whatever.
I was only there for 18 months, and I was just in the right place at the right time. I tell people it was just pure dumb luck that I was able to work with Eddie and building these guitars.
Were you making these with him there, or
he was there
every now and then?
He was there quite a bit. He spent a lot of time at the factory, and I think Eddie truly liked to tinker around with the guitars and such. He probably still does, Probably every one of the guitars that I built for him, he probably has taken apart and, swapped parts around, I think the Vita Scarolitis guitar was probably the only one that was really, truly never taken apart. Yeah. So, but that's okay. I got no problem with that, And of all these years, of all those guitars, I think there was only one neck that kind of went south on us, and Scott Smith owned it.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I have a photo of that.
And someone told me that neck was used to hold up a window.
Yes.
Yeah,
is that true? Yeah, but it's in a poster. It's in a Kramer poster where it's on the windowsill of a guitar of a room. And Eddie is peeking through like a peeping Tom.
I know exactly.
The kids are playing the guitars. They're playing the guitars, and he's looking through the window.
Okay, yeah, I know that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good testament to our craftsmanship. At least only one went south on us, So, what does David have there? Oh, look at that.
Dave, you got all the cools.
How rare is that?
That's cool.
We almost got sued for that, Dave.
Let me see that body there, Dave. That doesn't have a Floyd on it, does it?
Here's the Kramer guitar I bought years and years ago at a pawn shop in here in Nashville, Tennessee. It's a Strat, and it's got the old style a Kramer headstock on it.
Can we see the serial number plate on the back? The 4-hole plate?
Oh, yeah. Can you see that? Hang on, I'll try to get a better light on it.
Yeah, that's original.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
That's original to that guitar.
It's a B.
Is that a B number?
It's a Bravo. Yep.
Don't tell us the whole number, just the letter.
It's a B06.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
Bravo 06.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's an old guitar.
Yeah.
That could be like 1980.
It's a beautiful. It plays
Wow.
awesome. It's got low action on it. It
The
feels
body
like,
looks
like
thin.
Yeah, they
a
are.
low
Yeah.
radius.
Yeah.
You see the low radius on the neck?
Sure.
I don't have
How
a
long you had that
micrometer.
guitar,
I actually
Dave?
do micrometers on it, but I have to dig
David,
up
how
my-
long you had that guitar?
Yeah. But I bought this thing for like $80 at a pawn shop a couple years ago.
That
Crazy.
certainly is the right
Like
price.
a couple years ago.
That's awesome.
It's got
Oh,
the
I
brass
have a-
nut on it too, if you see. It actually came that way.
Oh, with the string
Brass
tree.
nut. So-
Brass nut and the same string tree.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Wow.
Wait, whoa, back up. It says Voyager series on the decal.
Yeah, it does.
That's not a Voyager.
I know. I just noticed that when you said that. So
You know what? That may not be original to that guitar.
Yeah, it's got the right tuners on it, but that may have been on. But who knows? We could have sent that out of the factory with that decal.
Yeah, I mean,
You know, we did anything we needed to do to make money and complete sales.
It was a little bit like the Wild West.
It was about making money.
There you go.
Paul, I have a question.
Bottom line.
For you. In regards to, we talked about this a little bit before, not to jump ship from Kramer, but when you started working with Eddie, you actually had hands-on with Eddie's Shark guitar, the Ibanez Destroyer.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know the story of that first body that was cut and everything. To your recollection, was the paint job on the Ibanez Destroyer silver or was it white?
We discussed that tonight, and I hadn't thought about that for 35 years. But I think you're right. I think that is red and silver.
Okay, thank you.
I think you're right. I think it is silver.
I know my replica. It's like a silver and a burgundy type paint,
Yeah.
stripe job. So I just was curious.
Yeah, and I originally thought that it's that it was more it's silverish, like a primer color, like like a primer.
Yeah. I mean, we all know the guitar was white at one time, but then in order to paint it the way he did, he could have primed it with like a grayish or silver primer, correct?
Mhm.
I think he chopped out the bottom of that with a hand drill
Yes.
and just
Yep.
chopped that out to a Voyager shape, you know.
Drilled a
Yeah.
bunch of holes
Yeah.
and cut it out.
Johnny, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
What questions do we have? Questions or comments?
We have a million of them.
That's it.
Oh,
Bert,
let's
before you
see.
get to them, how many watchers do we have?
Right now we have 33.
Wow,
That's
cool.
amazing. That's amazing. Thank you, everyone who's watching live. Thank you so much.
This is something
And
we
the-
really wanted to put together, and it took a little bit of effort to do it, but thank you very much. As Dave said.
Interstate effort.
Yeah.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah, it's great to see you guys together. I mean,
Inter-country. Actually, it's inter
Is it
country.
international too?
Canada.
Yeah, because
Canada.
Eric's from Canada.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Don't you know, eh?
Hoser, you hoser.
Jose.
Hey, I have a personal comment for David. I just wanted to let him know that I play in a bluegrass band. Do you know what that is?
Oh, I do. Even up here for sure. Bluegrass is big.
I will tell you this. I play 8 instruments, and my dad was a big bluegrass musician since 8 years old. My brother played at all the bluegrass festivals, and so I had to listen to Lester Flatt, Scruggs,
Yep.
Bill Monroe all my life, and I wanted to be a drummer. And when I was 12 years old, I wanted to be a drummer, and my dad said no, because drums are not in bluegrass.
There's no drums in bluegrass. And do you know that there is an album out there called "Strummin' with the Devil"? And
Yes.
it's the top Nashville bluegrass guys doing all Van Halen tunes.
Tiny little screw. I got to put it.
Didn't Dave do an appearance with him in one of the late night talk shows with that?
Yes, I think he did.
Yes.
Did
Yeah.
you jump or something like that?
I think
it was,
he
yeah.
jumped, yeah.
Yeah.
it was a
Yeah.
bluegrass jump.
Yeah, that's awesome. It was very cool.
Not to jump off topic, but Jimmy Page is a huge bluegrass he's a big bluegrass person also. He loves bluegrass. Him and Jimmy, Robert Plant and Jimmy Page are. So
Nice. Very cool.
Do we have a new speaker coming on, or?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Paul, would you, in the 18 months that you were working for Eddie, and I know this is a question that comes up a lot in topic while we're just waiting for Johnny to ask another question. How many guitars would you say, at an average, you might have striped up for Eddie?
At first we thought there was 10 to 13, but if we really search our memories, we keep coming up with the number of 18 pieces. And that includes the 3 double necks, the 2 Explorer shapes, all the Frankenstrat ones, the Hot for Teacher guitar. We keep coming up with a number of 18.
Okay. We talked about this the last time.
that's right.
I know you guys were still kind of tweaking
But
that number.
not everybody saw the last ones, right? So,
And I have to tell you, I never signed those guitars because, they weren't my guitars. They were property of Kramer Guitar Corporation, so it wasn't my product. But I had the wherewithal to stamp the letters UNK on the butt of every neck I made for Eddie, and that's one of the only ways we could identify my guitars, because they're all stamped Unk with a letter stamp, which I still have the same stamps. They're about 6 feet from us right now on the other side of the wall.
Very cool.
I
Very
got a
cool.
couple of guitars with those stamps on them.
I call it good.
Yeah. Well, before Nesdal leaves, you might have to stamp his forehead with that.
There you go.
Actually, you know what?
or somewhere else.
Oh, jeez.
A branding.
If,
You might need to brand those guys.
Butt cheek.
there's 3 of us, UNK. We'll at least take a letter.
You notice I'm not taking part in
Oh,
this,
no.
right? I'm just
It's
saying.
okay.
I have to say that if you get Dave Netzel to look up, the back of his neck looks like a 6-pack of hot dogs.
Oh.
Wow, dude, you are taking a pounding tonight.
Ballpark.
Paul Unkert's about to build me a guitar for free.
Hey, can I give you a hug? I'll give you a hug.
Oh, poor Dave.
Oh.
Love you,
There we
Dave.
go.
It's all right. I take a beating.
There's a lot of love over here. There's a lot of love.
I just wanted to see those 2 guys hug. Now everything's good.
You're okay now, John? For a little while? Okay.
Just on the other side of this iPad is a prototype Unk guitar that I'm taking home tonight.
Oh, sweet.
Paul's like, the hell you are.
Ow. Ow.
After that comment, you probably have to take a couple more guitars home.
Oh, dang. All right, so we've got a million questions here. It's insane.
That's it?
Yeah. Josh Smith. Josh, what's your question? I got people saying hi to me and stuff, but let's see. Okay. Was it Davin?
Davin.
Davin.
Davin, yeah, because he said it was like David, but Davin. That's right.
Davin, he's watching us. I don't know if that question's for me. What's your favorite song of Fair Warning? I don't know if that's for me or for Unkert. Do you know what Fair Warning is, Paul?
It's not me.
You ever heard of that record?
No.
You just gave Dave fair warning a minute ago.
It's a small one. It's just a small record.
Okay, well let's take this one. Maybe this is for you. Paul, what is your favorite Eddie Van Halen guitar from '78 until present?
78 till present. I would have to say that the most interesting guitars that I built were the double neck guitars, and I'm very fond of the yellow and black one. That had a 12-string neck on top and a 6-string neck on a bottom, a wood neck, and I believe there was even a Rockinger tremolo on that guitar.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so that tells us that was pretty early. That was probably in late 80, early 1981. But those were monster guitars, but I found it a very interesting project and a lot of fun building those guitars. A lot of work, though.
And the one that we saw was like on the US Festival,
That's
right?
the one.
The yellow one?
The yellow and black one, yeah.
Very cool. What was the story with the VH logo on the front?
Oh, the paint job? Well, we were just trying to be creative, We were trying to do something different. Because, Eddie had his own thing going on with, the striped Frankenstrat guitars, and we were just trying to be, cute, I guess, So, but for me, it was a very interesting project because I worked for Kramer Guitars when we were building the aluminum neck guitars, and I was not too much into the fact that we were starting to build wood neck guitars, because basically we were just importing ESP product and assembling it. Where when we did the aluminum neck guitars, we were actually truly manufacturing guitars. So the double neck guitar was a true hybrid of an aluminum neck and a wood neck guitar. So it was, half and half that transitional period for us. And we used all Shaler pickups in that guitar.
I think you're right too, Paul.
Yes.
You're right. It did have a Rockinger on it.
Yeah, it looks like it's got the Rockinger tremolo.
Absolutely does.
That was a cool guitar, man. Cool guitar.
You know,
Yeah.
the shallow pickups actually sound great. I don't know. I don't know why Kramer stopped using them, but
Shaler was making pickups as long as he's been making hardware.
really,
Yeah.
I have them in two of my Kramers. Both my my Pacers have shallow pickups.
Yeah.
You know, as a matter of fact, the original name for the Shaler company was Shaler Electronic. That was the original, trademark name.
Wow.
That's a nice neck. Look at that.
Yeah. I think David's got some of the coolest necks around.
So
Yeah.
maybe not everybody knows, what's the history, the timeline between the Rockinger and the Floyd Rose? The Rockinger came first,
Rockinger was
Right.
first.
and then Floyd came after that, but it was how long?
Within Kramer, within the Kramer company. Yes.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Very short amount of time. I would have to say months only. And the Rockinger tremolo was designed by that fella Dieter from Hamburg, Germany, who owns I guess it's called Duesenberg Guitars from Hamburg.
They're great guitars, actually.
He makes some really cool guitars, and but he was the original Rockinger guy. They're cool tremolos. I like them.
Mhm.
It's not a Floyd Rose though, by any means, but it was a fine-tuning bridge. What has Dave got there?
This
That's
is
right.
one of
It's
the
a
original
Whaletail.
Whaletails.
That's,
This is one of them.
that's a prototype 82.
Show us the back, Dave.
All right. This one actually has the a different type of block.
Right.
Sorry, but these blocks are completely different than the production models.
I never saw that before.
And the bolt pattern, I did a documentary about or Google Hangout. The bolt pattern on this is totally different. And I'll show you the other Kramer I've got here in a second. It's got a steel block on it. But this is one of the original Floyds, the very first ones. I've got a gold one here too. I'll show you. But these are a little uniquely different. They're thinner too. You see how thin they are? It's a little hard.
Yeah.
You can actually see they're thinner than a production model.
I don't recognize the logo though.
Yeah, that's a little bit different, but let me show you a gold one. Hang on 1 second. Here is a gold one. This is the gold model, and you can see it. It's the Whaletail model. It's thinner. It's got the big, huge steel. It's got like a steel block on the back, but it's the thin type block.
And is there no spring? Oh, there are springs there. Okay.
This one has, but they're different because you see they're actually recessed inside. They're real little thin ones,
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I like that.
and it's a pretty cool idea. But let me show you my Kramer real quick, and I'll show you that one. Oh, here's an. By the way, you're talking about ESP necks. This is actually an old ESP neck that I got in Las Vegas years and years ago. It was hanging up in the pawn shop. I got the guitar for $110 or $100. And
Wow.
I took it apart, and it said, I took it off earlier, years ago, about 10 years ago. It said ESP on the back of it right here. But I
Cool.
straightened it down, but I didn't know what I really had at the time.
That neck could have been earmarked for George Lynch.
Yeah.
And I've got all the parts for it and everything, but this is an old one that come off of I've got the ESP body somewhere in the closet, but I wanted, when you were talking about ESP necks, this is one of them right here.
Cool. That would have been a Tiger Stripe guitar, right? Yeah.
On the
You guys
Floyd,
did them for George, too.
Yeah, sure. A lot of them.
This is the 5150 I have built that I've got, but you can see it's got a Floyd Rose tremolo, but it's really the prototype model. You can see it. It's got the raised lettering on it and stuff. But these things are really unique because they're really thin. You see how thin they are? I mean, I'm trying to show a better picture, but they're very thin compared to the real production models. And that's one thing that's a little different. But the main secret of this is this sucker right here, this black steel sustain block. It is heavy and it's thick and it's actually different than all the production models.
And they rusted real easy.
Yep.
They got
And,
rusty.
they're steel, and I haven't seen them make a steel one before, except for these. And
Right. Right.
David, do you think that's a tremolo that Floyd Rose himself had machined?
I think so.
Yeah.
You can see it's got marks all over it. It's almost like hand tooling marks on it. But when I took it apart, I had to take it apart to dissect it and make all the measurements and stuff. And also the stems here are different. These stems, let me show you. These are different than a production model.
They're not peened in. Yeah, right.
They're actually thinner too. They're real thin.
Yeah.
And also, it's hard to see, but the screws back here are further back than a production model. And it's really unique. And this one actually did not have the, let me put this back on here before I lose it. These are really unique because these are these stems are like custom made. Also, they don't have the, these are loose back here, you see. They don't have any of
the claw is not on those. There was no claw.
But and also
those are very hard to come by, those bridges.
Yeah. This one actually, I modified it just for temporary until I get it. I got a machine apart. I got to go to a machine shop and get it machined. But what it is, this thing has a. I've got a collar bushing on it. Let me show you real quick. This actually has a bar. Check this out. This bar is different than all the other ones.
I've seen that before with the nut on it.
It goes all the way through, and it's got nuts on it. Let me show you. See how long this thing is? It's a long thread. It goes all the way through the body, through the other end. But at the moment, I have a collar on it so I can screw through it, so I can actually use it.
That thing is 35 years old.
Usability issue. And then I've got the lock nut up here. This one, actually, I talked to Dave Nesdahl. Sorry, I got your name wrong.
That's okay. Everyone does.
It's actually this nut is different because it doesn't even have any writing on the back of it and everything. I've actually got lucky. I found the nut and the Floyd Rose out of Japan last year, and I put it on there. So
yeah, that's beautiful.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
It's a cool little guitar, man. I love it. It's one of my favorites now.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Bar on it. Got the big bar, you can see it. But yeah, this thing is awesome. I'm on my next build next, but that's coming.
Good stuff. I got a question here from Stan Mucha, and he asks Paul, what pickup did you prefer to put in Eddie's guitars at that time?
Because I was actually bringing in some of my own parts, I actually donated 2 or 3 original Gibson PAF pickups, double black humbuckers. But all the pickups we used at Kramer for Eddie were Seymour Duncan. I never used any Shaler pickups, but I did use a few original PAFs that I had acquired, and then we just went into using Seymour Duncans. And I believe they were all 59s.
Yeah.
They weren't JBs or customs. They were 59s, and possibly, get this, they may have been neck position pickups.
Wow. That's cool. That's cool to know.
Could that have been why they were what do you call it? Reversed zebra?
A reverse zebra? No, that was just the colors of the bobbins. That was just luck of the draw. What came out of the box that day. Usually we just use double black, though, for Eddie. That was the most common pickup.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting, like I said, a lot of them were 59ers, and a lot of them were neck position pickups with a smaller string spacing.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Johnny, our buddy Teddy just texted me an eBay photo of a Kramer aluminum neck guitar that's on eBay for $5,000.
Crazy.
Wow.
If that's a real guitar, that's a prototype made by, what was his name? Phil Patillo. That's probably a one-off guitar. That's not a production model at all.
Huh.
That was probably made by Phil Patillo, who was a local luthier at the time when Kramer started up in the early to mid-'70s.
Wow. Hang on. Let's see if I can get a photo of this for the camera. Can you see that at all?
Yeah, very clearly. Yeah.
Thanks for the photo, Teddy.
Yes, thank you, Teddy. Teddy.
Rare guitar.
Teddy says it's not an aluminum neck, it's wood. Sorry, I got bad eyes.
Now the mystery begins.
Very cool.
Oh man.
What else do we got, Johnny?
Okay, let's see here. I have a question right here. Dave Lucy asks for Paul, if you can give 3 essential tips of guitar building and adjustment, what are they?
A straight neck. Oh boy, those are 3 good questions. You know, it's funny. I try to do things like David does, as with the background of like engineering. But my final measurement is my tips of my fingers and my eye. So I always start with a straight neck, and then I adjust the truss rod from there. I don't think there's 3 given things. You know, it's a culmination of many, many different things to set a guitar up perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
He can come to my shop and I'll teach him for free.
Wow, for free? I'm coming to your shop.
Wait, we're already there.
There you go.
We may not leave.
Yeah, we're not leaving.
I'll sleep in my car. That's fine. I don't have to work tomorrow.
I tell you what, it's no magic. It's just you got to feel it out. You know, everybody knows how they want their guitar to feel. I tell you what, I do 1,500 guitar repairs a year, and I do 1,500 different setups.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you
That's
need.
what you told me. When I talked to you after the last hangout we did, I called you, and that's what you were telling me.
Everybody's different.
That's right.
Okay, I have another question from another friend of ours. His name is Caleb. And he says, and funny thing is, we discussed this at dinner. He says to Paul, any idea what Dennis Berardi is up to these days?
I can't tell you what he's doing, but I could tell you he's down in Florida right now, where we should all be right now.
Golfing.
Golfing, yeah. I tell you what, I would dearly like to see Dennis Berardi and talk to him. I haven't seen him in 30, 35 years, and I have to say that I always liked Dennis. He was very kind to me as a young guy. You know, he encouraged me. He wasn't a guitar player, but he had a real passion for the guitar business. He was our kingpin, you know, and I miss Dennis. He was a good guy.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, we were just talking about that at dinner.
What else, Johnny? Next question.
Okay.
Where are we taking our honeymoon?
It's got to stop.
You're in your honeymoon right now. Right there.
Gotta stop.
Yeah. Hey,
Dave's
hold on.
taking enough heat
The
tonight.
tone was just way too serious. I'm sorry. The tone was too serious. We had to break it up a little bit. I'm sorry. Let's move on. Johnny, go ahead.
So what was it like when you guys were at dinner tonight? In between Dave and Rob, was there a candle lit?
Actually,
There
there was.
But Anthony kept blowing.
Romantic music.
Oh. Oh man.
Kept blowing.
Oh, cupcake involved.
Oh, my God.
I do want to ask Paul one quick question also.
See what we're out of it.
Yes.
I did meet you years ago at the Kramer convention here in Nashville, and I loved your comment with the police officer in Virginia. That was a comical, man. It was.
Oh,
awesome.
yeah. I got a speeding ticket coming to see you, and I was doing 95 in a 65 in Roanoke, Virginia.
Allegedly.
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 And he told me, he says, you know, boy, I'm going to just give you down to 69, or you're coming down to see the magistrate, you know. So he let me off. But we were on our way down to the NAMM show, and but that was the weekend in the hotel. We had a lot of fun that night. We were jamming until about 4 o'clock in the morning in the hallways.
Yeah, it's called the Hotel Preston now. They changed names.
That's pretty close to the Gibson factory. Am I correct?
It's about 2 miles from the factory. I live in Donaldson. I live about 2 miles from the hotel. So.
Okay.
So yeah.
I had a lot of fun that weekend.
Yeah.
You guys had some wonderful guitars. What a great collection of guitars you guys had, though.
Yeah, it was great.
Cool. All right, we have a lot of people, a lot of questions. Let's see, real quick. Dave Lucy, I have some experience working on self-taught. He's located in Virginia, about 6-hour drive. He's asking if he can come up one day around May or June and see you, Paul.
Sure. Just tell him to give me a call. Let me know he's coming.
Okay.
He can't spend the night, but he can hang out during the day.
Awesome.
Anytime.
Cool.
And you could tell all these guys, if they want to talk to me, all they have to do is pick up the telephone and give me a call. I'm glad to talk to anybody, help them out. Look at all you guys are going, what's a telephone?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm afraid if you give the number out right now, you'll be bombarded with calls.
Save it till tomorrow.
Yeah. We have 31 viewers watching us right now.
Cool.
So there's some people that want in to ask you a question on camera.
Cool.
Let me see if I can get somebody in here right now. But please, everybody, if you jump in here, make sure you have no music playing, no television sets, and have a clean connection. Let me see if I can get somebody in here real quick.
No family fights in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not unless they're really entertaining for us to watch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay, let's see if this guy jumps in here. Again. All right, let's see what happens. But yeah, as this dude's jumping in, let's see what else. David, has there ever been a double-necked Wolfgang, or do you ever think there will be?
I was not involved in that, but I believe I've seen a double-neck Wolfgang somewhere in the recent past. I can't verify that, but I believe I've seen them, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Alex.
Can you guys see me? Okay, am I on?
Yes.
All right, hi.
There you are. Good. What's your question, man?
What's happening, Alex?
Nothing much. How about you, Dave?
Doing all right.
All right. So, Mr. Unkert, I am an aspiring luthier myself. I'm very into the trade. Unfortunately, I'm here in California, so not able to just come over and learn from you there. But my personal favorite neck is right here. It's a modern-day EVH neck, which is supposedly asymmetrical. I'm curious about replicating, like making an asymmetrical neck. How to do it? If you've got any advice on that.
Well, I'll tell you what. Our friend Scott Smith at Musicraft, and you could find him at musicraft.com. He manufactures an asymmetrical neck. That is, they've got an Anderson CNC machine down there, and they could copy that neck for you. It's funny, I believe the neck that you're holding right now was a neck that I had carved, and I guess Ernie Ball copied that down to a mistake behind the 4th fret. There's like a little dent, I believe, like a little divot where I sanded a little bit too much, and I think they had copied that. But certainly the viewers have to realize that the asymmetrical, the heavy carve was on the treble side of the neck.
Right. Yeah. No. That's at least what I felt in this neck itself. It's funny. Like Musicraft, I've actually got them making a Telecaster neck for me right now.
But I believe you could ask the guys at Musicraft. You could call Scott Smith, and they can make the neck asymmetrical carve for you. That's
available, I've noticed.
Yeah, that's a standard thing they have available right now.
yeah, it's just kind of something I want to be able to do myself, given that I'm getting into the trade.
Well, if you're going to try that, the best thing you got to do is if you're going to carve a neck is you got to have some sort of vise to hold it. And I would start with like scraper blades. That's the easiest way to remove a tremendous amount of material fast and, in some uniformity, And there's all kinds of scraper blades that are curved and straight, and you just got to lean into that treble side, and continually look at it against a good light, like a fluorescent light fixture, and just roll it and look at all those different lines down the back of the neck. And make sure it's straight. You want to make sure it's straight.
Right, yeah. It's always nice to have a straight neck. And then I assume just after that, sand it down to make it nice and uniformly smooth.
Oh, yeah, and you could just use a piece of sandpaper and do like the old shoe shine thing, just back and forth, and you'll get a nice round shape,
Right. Nice. Well, thank you for the tip.
Anytime.
Greatly appreciate it.
Cool.
Great question, Alex.
Thanks, Alex.
Yep.
Hey,
Nice.
Eric.
Yeah.
Does your fiance have a question for Paul?
She does, actually. She's watching in another room, and as we said earlier, the little guy's watching upstairs. But she says, she just texted me. We text from 4.5 feet away. She says, I have a question for Paul. What is the most memorable guitar you've made, and why is that?
Wow, good question. I'll tell you what, I do over 1,500 guitar repairs a year, and I think to date, I have probably manufactured about 600 guitars, from scratch. And I say that including, the Custom Dreams project, American Showsters, which were the guitars that looked like 57 Chevys. Those were some of my favorite guitars. I built a bunch of those, the original, 30 pieces with Rich Excellente. They were called American Showster, and they resembled the tail fins of a 57 Chevy. Those were really, pieces of artwork, They were some of my favorite guitars.
Cool. Very good. Thank you. She'll appreciate it. I'm sure she'll listen right now, so thank you.
Cool.
Johnny, who's next?
Yes. Oh. Josh Smith. Let's see. What's Josh saying? Okay, here's a question. Josh Smith. Paul, what became of the Unkert guitars?
Is Josh Smith there right now?
It's just a.
Okay.
It says, what does it say? Talking about the pieces, there's some pics that popped up not too long ago showing stacks. Oh, he's talking about something else there. Yeah. But
in a nutshell, the Unkert guitar project is kind of like in mothballs right now. I still own the 2 patents and the 2 registered trademarks on it. I don't have much of a desire to manufacture those guitars anymore. It was very hard to compete against companies like Fender and Gibson. They're just so well established. And the actual Unkert guitar project is for sale right now. So if somebody wants to purchase the patents and the registered trademarks, we're talking probably about $25,000, and you could have whatever's left over plus the patents and trademarks. I just want to pay off some debt and have a little money in escrow in case something raises its ugly head, But I think it's the most unique headstock shape in the guitar industry. I wish somebody would buy it and do something with it,
David Allen, we want to grab that. You can buy it.
David's got money. I can
He's
tell.
Buy it. It'd be easier for him to get the parts. Just get it, David.
Let me go to the bank tomorrow and talk to him.
See the bank manager tomorrow. We're good.
Yeah.
next time we do one of these, David Allen will be there at that table.
I'll come to Nashville to build guitars. I like Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I think there was a second part to Josh Smith's question. Talking about the pieces, there were some pics that popped up not long ago that showed stacks of striped bodies. Then there were several striped Kramer guitars hanging at 5150 that had black and white stripes, different colors. Do you know much about all that? Any of that?
I'll tell you what, I have to reiterate to people who didn't hear the conversation last week, I was only at Kramer for 18 months, so I was in the right place at the right time, and it was basically pure dumb luck that I was involved in a project. Again, I built roughly 18 guitars for Eddie in those 18 months, and it was a lot of fun. It was a real pleasure to do that. But after I had left, do not think that they weren't manufacturing many striped guitars for artists and promo projects, and so I can't verify what photos he's looking at, but it was probably well after I had left, because if there's any photos of striped guitars while I was there, we're talking 1, 2, 3 pieces at a time. That was it. They were all handmade guitars, one off at a time.
I think I know which guitars he's talking about. They're in the attic hanging up, and they're white guitars with black stripes.
Yeah. Those are.
There's 2 of them. One of them's a Kramer, and the other one's another brand. It's not a Kramer. It actually looks like a Carr guitar made by Carr, Steve Carr. Steve Carr was a guitar company that Eddie was planning on doing, but decided to go with Kramer instead of Steve Carr for some reason, and I don't know the ins and outs of that, but that I believe is a Carr guitar.
It's very interesting body shape.
Yeah, it's a little bit thinner than the 1 3/4-inch bodies that Kramer made.
Mm-hmm. I know one of I know one of the black and white ones that's hanging up in the photo he's talking about was painted by George Felice.
Okay, yeah, that's got to be that Kramer.
Yeah.
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 That's cool. That's actually a very cool guitar, and it didn't see any, I don't think it saw, other than it being given to Ed, I don't think it was ever used.
No.
No. I have another question from our friend Caleb. He says, do you remember the first time Eddie played the 5150 guitar, the one with the neck that has the little ding in it on the 4th fret? Do you remember the first time he played it? Was it love at first play? And was it because of was it the feel of the neck? Was it the way the guitar sounded? Do you remember any of that?
I have to say, Eddie was so into guitars that when we finished a project for him, he was truly excited to receive anything that we had manufactured for him. I mean, it was an exciting project to work with Eddie and build those guitars and see his response. I mean, the guy just loved to play guitar, so anytime we handed him anything, I tell you, when he came up to the factory, he was like a kid in a candy shop. Could you imagine being a guitar player and given full reign of just, doing anything you want in a guitar factory? I mean, he was in a heaven, but I think he was truly excited about every project we handed over to him. And that was appreciated by us and everybody involved, It made us feel good about it, there was a good karma there,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I have to say, I mean, it was so cool for me to be a 27-year-old kid and have an Eddie Van Halen hanging out 5 feet from me, jamming on a guitar in my office. I mean, that I built, almost giving me a personal, concert. I mean, how cool was that?
Yeah. That's awesome.
We're going to have a caller come in and ask you a question.
Okay.
Is that okay with you? Let me just tell him. Johnny, we're going to have a caller come in and ask a question to Paul.
Okay. Can I ask a question real quick?
Yep.
Right before this? Well, who's calling you right now? Who is that?
Cody Barra.
Okay. Oh, Cody. Hey, Cody, if you're watching this, hey. Great to meet you, man. Yeah, I accepted Cody today. Paul Rodden says... Rodden?
Yeah.
Paul Rodden says, the paint on the Kramer guitars, was it lacquer, urethane, or enamel?
Oh, I have to tell you what, we had used anything we had laying around. There was any real, solid proof that it was Schwinn bicycle paint. I think we had just run out to the local hardware store and got whatever red paint we can get. Now, traditionally at Kramer, we did use a polyester finish, which was a catalyzed lacquer, but that was only on a production guitarist. That was never on any of Eddie's guitars. So I would have to say that it would probably be enamel from a shaker can, a rattle can.
Mm-hmm. And Paul also asks, what size frets did Eddie like?
I have to tell you, Dave could probably show us the size frets on that George Lynch guitar. I would probably just call that a medium width guitar net, frets.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, that's just a medium fret, right?
Just stand by. We'll take it all night.
Okay. Cody's all good.
Yeah.
If Cody
Cool. I
wants
want to see Cody. Is he on the screen?
No, he's right
No,
here.
he's just on the phone.
Is he there? Cody, you there?
I'm here.
Dude, I forgot what you sounded like.
Paul, how are you, buddy?
Where are you, in Chicago?
No, I'm Central Illinois, close.
Okay.
I'm 2.5 hours south of the current Donald Trump riot.
Oh, yeah, that's all on TV tonight. When are you going to come?
How are you? It's been a long time, man.
Really? When are you going to come see me?
Tomorrow.
Okay, I'll be here.
Hey, I think Paul's interested in building that double neck.
Yeah, I want to build some of those.
I asked you back in like 2009, and you didn't say no. It was just we were busy with that whole guitar thing and all that, but I'd love to have one, man. I really would.
Well, I'll tell you what.
My favorite pieces you ever did.
Tom Weber has some interest in building those guitars too. We're going to have to get a bunch of guys together, and we could build those guitars because we need to make the forked headstock on top as a 12-string, and of course I have the rights to that headstock, so
You have proprietary rights.
yeah, so we could build those, and we would just have to build like a chicken hawk headstock on the bottom with a Floyd rose. What we have to do is I'm continually harassing Scott Smith to give me a tracing of the body because I believe he has one.
Let me ask you a question. If Scott Smith is the tracing, isn't that how he
What's
makes
the
it?
headstock?
Well, probably.
Right. So you should have it.
But he won't give him back. He won't give him back.
By the way, can you guys hear? Can you hear my
Yes.
phone on the
Yes.
computer? Okay, very good.
But Cody, that would be a really cool thing. Maybe for this year, a bunch of us could get together somehow and let's build some of those guitars. That would be a lot of fun. We'd have to let.
I'm not a builder. I'm not a builder. I was always good at buying Eddie's guitars.
Cool.
I'm good.
I was never good at building them. I'm okay at relicing. You guys, who's all on? Is Rob on?
I'm here.
Yeah.
Cody. I'm here.
Rob, you there? Johnny, you're there, right?
Johnny's on the
Yes.
computer. He's in Cali.
I can hear you.
You guys, and Dave especially, you guys are awesome at that. Scott Smith obviously is awesome at that. I was always kind of, I could half-ass a replica, I could make it look okay. You guys nail that stuff.
Well,
Thank you.
Cody.
Thank you so much.
I mean, Scott's.
Scott Smith, Jerry, all those guys, you guys have that eye, that artistic ability to actually do that.
Thank you,
And
Cody.
Unk as well, obviously.
Well, if it wasn't for Paul and Eddie Van Halen, we wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah. It's funny, Cody. It's funny you said that because I mean, like Dave said, Paul's the guy that did it, and materialized everything. But like I said before, I've been doing it for almost 20 years, and it's Scott Smith and Jerry. Those are the guys that taught me how to do it back in '96, and I've been doing it ever since. And guys like Dave, myself, we've been kind of following their suit all these years, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Paul, you did it for 18 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, 18.
Paul did it for 18 months.
Yeah.
Everybody else is doing it for 20 years.
He did it the least of all of us and is the most.
Yeah, I got all the glory.
That's right.
Hey, Cody, you don't have any Andy Lee guitars, do you? Do you remember Andy Lee?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Are you talking about the signature model?
Yeah, like with the his striped paint jobs.
The Japanese, like with the kill switch, that model?
Yeah. Do you have any of those?
No, I don't have
Okay.
these signature models.
Right.
I wish I did.
Yeah, I
I
think.
still have one of your Unks.
Cool.
The white one
Cool.
with the bird's eye maple. That thing is incredible. Yeah.
Cool.
What I wanted to say real quick, I know we've got multiple people on the line. So that's, I don't mean to talk over others, but what I think is funny is what Paul did back in the early 80s, 81, 82, whatever, by making these bastardized guitars, hauling them through parking lots and throwing rocks and sheetrock screws and whatnot. You guys literally have to sit and try to get every intricacy of every, and all he did was he just drug it through a parking lot. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And we sit there with X-Acto knives like for days and days, and no, that scratch isn't right. No, oh man, I gotta start over again.
That little bit of overspray isn't right. I gotta lift the tape a little bit more and do a quick pass.
Yeah, you guys are nuts. You guys are nuts.
That's crazy.
Hey, Cody, I also had a big old rusty chain. That was like a big one too, you know.
Yeah, you tell me about it.
Yeah, big old rusty chain. Yeah.
Hey, I really enjoyed getting you guys on video right now. I'm not as terrible as Paul when it comes to technology, but I don't have a so I'm calling in on Dave. Dave somehow has me hooked up on his phone. And by the way, Dave, I believe I'm on speakerphone, so go ahead and get a little bit closer because you're kind of far out there.
Oh, sorry. Oh, okay.
No, you're good now.
Yeah.
Did you guys, Johnny, I couldn't, maybe I am Paul Unkert, I don't know. I couldn't figure out how to live stream the YouTube thing. I'm on your YouTube page, and I just couldn't figure out how to do it. But did you guys talk about the blue headstock?
Yes.
Headstock guitar.
Yes, that guitar has been we talk about that guitar a lot tonight actually.
What a controversial project, huh?
Any questions you have for me because I own that guitar?
Yes. Any questions for you? How heavy was that guitar, or was it light?
It was heavy.
It was heavy. So
really cool.
Do we know if that's a maple body or a poplar body?
It was definitely not poplar. Mm-hmm. I remember when I had it, I thought by the way the grain, guys like Mike Wolverton from Vintage Kramer talking to Paul, who was there, obviously.
There was no mahogany.
I believe there was no mahogany.
No.
So I'm gonna have to go with maple because it was heavy. It wasn't electric. It was definitely not poplar.
Yeah.
Well, more like going between poplar and mahogany. It was poplar and maple.
It does make sense because the Walker body, the Kramer Ad body, which is the first one that was done, that was maple. So it is possible, since it is a Frankenstein style body, that was also maple.
It was the grain though that bothered me about that because I don't know. I know that guitar was so old and it wasn't finished, it wasn't clear coated or anything like that. And there was something about the grain that looked mahogany, but again, Paul said it was only maple and poplar. So I'm going with maple, man. It was heavy.
Yeah, cool.
You know, Cody, I have to say that there were some bodies made out of poplar that were as heavy as maple, though. You know, poplar is such a creepy wood. It could be real light. It could be real heavy. You know, keep in mind it was just a paint grade material. You know, so some of it had black, like mineral streaks in it and everything. But there is definitely a possibility that it could have been made out of maple. You know, we just used whatever we had. Everything was so willy nilly back then. You know. But you actually have that guitar, though, huh?
I don't know how
I didn't.
2 hours. I felt bad because I was like, Dave, I'm on Central Time. You're on East Coast. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh no, I'm not your normal 9 to 5 guy. I'm up all night. So.
No, you weren't, because I saw that you were posted at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
I was talking.
Like, does this guy sleep?
I was talking to Tom Weber. Tom Weber, who's Eddie's tech now, texted me and wanted to say hello to Paul and you know, get his number and all kinds of stuff. So I happened to be up, so I texted him back. Yeah.
Well, here's the deal. If you want to hear the story, my experience is that Blue Strike headstock guitar. You guys want to hear it?
Yeah, sure. We have a couple minutes. I'm gonna put the phone closer to the computer though, so this can go on the air.
Okay, cool. I'll try to make it quick. I don't mean to butt into your guys' time.
Not at all.
I went on the old Vintage Kramer website back in October of 2004, and they had you had to have so many. You didn't have to buy a membership, but you had to have so many, not reputation points, but like replies and messages, whatnot, to get into like the private sector where it was for things for sale. You know, like only between the big time members, whatever. Some guy, his name was Rodney. I won't give out his last name, only because I don't know if people want me to. But his name was Rodney, and he had made a post. He goes, I have a very rare Paul Unkert made EVH Kramer, and no one else bid on it. He put the picture out, and what I suspect is because the headstock was red, blue, and white, people thought another guy trying to sell a fake. And I had sent him a private message, and I go, what's the story? And he basically said that it was made for Eddie. Eddie gave it to a Kramer employee. Rodney bought the guitar off of the Kramer employee, and he had it for all those years, and he asked $5,000 for it. And I'm a gambler, and I just said, I'll buy it. And I wired him the $5,000. He ships it to me FedEx, okay? I hung over as hell on a Saturday morning. I was like 24, 25 years old, right? So I was obviously out at the bar the night before. And I woke up at 7 o'clock. I knew it was coming that morning. And sure enough, 8 o'clock, FedEx shows up. Nice looking blonde girl, by the way, working for FedEx. Brought this guitar to me. I was super excited. I open up, I put the cardboard apart, open up the case, headstock's broken.
Oh.
Split.
Oh, wow.
It split right where Unk made the cut. You know what I'm talking about, Paul,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
That's my faulty workmanship.
No, it wasn't your faulty work. It was FedEx's screw-up job when they probably dropped it on the wrong side. Anyway, it's still in tune because the Floyd, the locking nut is still tight.
Right.
So it's still in tune, and I'm freaking out. I'm like, I just paid $5,000 for this thing, and the headstock's broken. So I take it out to my shop, put some tight bond on it, C-clamp it, whatever. I have pictures. I don't know if I sent you those pictures, Dave. You can kind of tell on the back there was a little bit of glue bleed, which is my fault. I'm not a luthier. Right? I can work my way around a garage, but I'm not, or a shop, but I'm not awesome. But I glued it back on, C-clamped it, put new strings on it after about 6 hours because I had a gig that night. Tightened it up, tuned it, tightened the nut, and then I backed all the tension off the neck so it could actually cure properly. And that's, to my knowledge, that's how it still stands to this day.
Well, the cool thing of
And Paul, the guy you were talking about that owns the bodybuilder that's Mark out of the Bay Area, I believe.
Yeah.
Now.
yes,
Okay.
Mark. Yeah. So you gluing that back, it's not with all the glue marks on it. Don't feel so bad because the Vitas Garolitis guitar that's at the Music Zoo has the same shoddy glue marks from where Paul glued the original pieces of wood. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. And like the top.
I see very detailed bits from a guy named Douglas Dimitri. I'm
Yeah.
gonna give a shout out to Douglas. Dave, that's the guy I was trying to think of last night where I said his name was Jimmy.
Yeah.
It's Douglas, and he's very good friends with Tommy, and he was one of the few that put those original pictures out and brought that collection. In fact, real quick, and it wasn't for Douglas, I would not have had solid proof that guitar that Paul made was legitimate because it was used in a guitar world or guitar player. It was an advertisement for heavy metal guitar strings.
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
No idea how it got there, but you could match up everything
It's
perfectly.
absolutely right. And the single coil pickup had a red cover on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think so. I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm not in front of that computer. You just have to remember, I called Dave out of the blue last night. I have not thought or gotten. I used to be pretty pretty deep into this EVH guitar stuff, and he had me looking through folders of mine on my computer that I hadn't seen in years. I hadn't thought about any of these guitars. I actually got hooked back on because I saw Dave post the original Part 1 video with Paul on Facebook this past Monday. I was at a business meeting and I was bored because business meetings was just bored, and I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw that, and I don't remember the actual single coil, but I know it was a T-top, I believe.
Yeah, I'm looking at a picture of it right now, Cody. I'm looking at a picture of it.
The Gibson pickup is a T-top in that. Yes, it's a
dirty thing.
double black.
Yep.
Yeah. And you know what? That guitar played like a dream. And you guys talk about Paul's necks. You're absolutely correct. If you've ever been able to play one of Paul's necks that he made for Eddie, there is a certain feel for it. The Ernie Ball Music Man guitars, very close. They had to back off just a little because the high E string was falling off the fretboard.
Mm-hmm.
That's how thin they were. But they were perfect.
Yeah.
They were skinny little necks, though, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And they were very comfortable. You did a good job, Paul. I liked it.
Well, thank you very much.
Hey, Cody, I'm going to keep you on the line for a couple minutes, but we do have other calls and other questions. But I am going to keep you live on the phone until my phone's about to die.
No problem.
So you can be part of this.
Talk to you again, Paul. Paul, if I don't get to talk to you again, I miss you. We had good times out in California both those years as man.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You're a good guy. I appreciate everything, all the knowledge you have given not only to me but now to everyone. It's good stuff, and we're gonna get that double neck made.
I think that's gonna be a project this year, man. You know.
You let me know the price, buddy, and I'll be the guinea pig for it. Go ahead and make it.
Well, there's going to be 3 of them.
It's gonna be a limited edition, you know.
There's going to be at least 3 of them, and 2 of them are in this house.
Yeah.
Count me in.
Cool.
In case I get lost in this, Johnny, thank you so much for doing this. I don't know you at all. Dave talked highly about you. I'm gonna follow your YouTube channel and all your stuff. You're a diehard Van Halen fan, Rob. I like you. You get great replicas, man. I was fascinated watching that video, just looking at your stuff.
Thanks, Cody. I appreciate it. And one quick thing, you're right about Jimmy. I've known Jimmy a long time. Him and I talk a lot. We haven't talked in a few months, but he's a mountain of knowledge. I will. He's a mountain of knowledge, and thank you very much for your input.
Hey, no problem.
All right, Cody, stay on the line, buddy.
Yeah. I don't know if Cody can hear me, but hey, Cody, thank you very much.
The planet can
Hey,
hear
welcome.
you.
I can hear you.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, I accepted you on Facebook, and yeah, it's all good. It's all good, man.
Awesome.
Thank you. Okay, quick question from Peter. Did Paul ever consult on any of the Wolf designs, Music Man PV, or Fender, any of that stuff?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It all ended in the early months of 1982, and that was the very end of it.
Okay. Okay. Mario, our friend Mario.
Hey, Mario.
Mario.
Was there any challenges putting together Eddie's guitars?
Well, you know, we did have to create the necks. You know, we had to carve the necks, create the headstocks, stripe them up. You know, building any guitar has its challenges. And I tell you, I was very lucky. You know, I had other duties to perform at Kramer as the service manager, and there was other artists that I was working for, like, you know, Peter Frampton, Nancy Wilson of Heart, you know, Johnny Cash. But Eddie Van Halen was our pet artist, and I had free reign to spend as much time as I wanted on the Van Halen guitars. So it was a pleasure for me to do that stuff.
Nice. Nice.
Matt, let me just reiterate. Although I wasn't there, but
Okay.
I've seen a couple of these guitars now close up, and I can see how it would have taken some work for them to actually go together. Like guitars of today, like the guitars that Scott Smith makes. They're
Cookie cutter.
They're cookie cutter bodies and necks that are made to go together so that, for a lack of a better word. A monkey could put them together, and they'll be great out of the gate. Those guitars back then, the nut shelf, they didn't have an exact measurement of where that nut shelf should have been cut. So a lot of times there'd be metal shims underneath the nut to get the right height. And Eddie liked that bridge to sit right on the body and flush, not on an angle like your guitars, Johnny. That was a little bit of a dig. Sorry. Anyway, it was trial and error to get that to be correct because
well, I didn't build those guitars.
There was no equation to how deep the neck pocket was going to be to get the neck to fit in it correctly.
A lot of times it was just a couple strokes of a file to create that magic of that good fit, you know?
A couple millimeters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thousandths of an inch.
Yeah.
And for them, you know, and Eddie was very demanding back then. If he wanted a guitar, he wanted to take it home at the end of the business day. You know, he was there in the morning and wanted to take that guitar home regardless. It needed to be finished that day. So, you know, he got all these guys scrambling to get one guitar in perfect order before 5 o'clock.
He was taking guitars home. You could still smell the paint.
Yeah.
Maybe this is related to that. Devin Hall asks, has Paul, if Paul had grown, something just popped up in front of that. Had grown to like the Neptune in the years since Ed ruined it with the dots.
That's the one with the polka dots.
Yeah,
the Neptune.
The one out in your shop right now.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not into polka dots.
Talk about that. I'll be right back. Yeah. What do you think about the Neptune, that guitar, Paul? Or tell us the story again about that guitar, the one where he sprayed the dots on it.
Oh, that guitar, okay.
Yes.
That was made for Eddie, and it was totally complete, ready to rock and roll. And I had it on a stool at my little desk there. And, you know, he wanted to be involved in the project, so he just found a can of black spray paint, walked over and sprayed that dot, and it dripped down. And, of course, I was horrified. And but it became an iconic guitar, you know. I was kind of bummed out, I have to say, you know, but, you know, look how unique that thing is now, you know?
Yeah, there you go.
You were horrified that you drug a guitar across the parking lot and Eddie Van Halen walked up and sprayed paint.
This is the guitar in question.
That's awesome.
Funny.
You have to think back now, in 1981, 1982, we were probably some of the first people to ever relic guitars. You know, Eddie wanted me to sand those guitars where it looked like his arm wore through the paint and where his hand wore through the paint at the, you know, the inside of the carving of the you know, the bottom horn, you know. So we were relicing guitars in 1981, you know, and, you know, we figured it out pretty fast, you know.
And he finally grew up and figured out that you could relic a Wolfgang and sell it for $10,000.
Yeah, God bless him. God
Well,
bless
there's only
him.
20 of them.
I don't fault him for that. I don't mean that as a dig at Eddie. It's just funny what you just said, meaning here versus, you know, what happened back in the day. It's because no one thought about relic guitars in 1982.
Yeah.
Eddie Van Halen.
Well,
Right?
you know, Eddie just wanted to go on stage with a guitar that looked like it had been played for a while, you know.
Right.
That's how he wanted them, you know. And, you know, he was the boss at the time, you know. So we gave him what he wanted, and it was fun doing it, you know. You know, I tell you what, you have to think about this. How much fun is it to work at a guitar plant and be able to take handfuls of rocks and sheetrock screws and chains and throw it at a guitar and get paid for it?
Hey, all right, we got Hefner here. Jeremy Hefner.
That's one of the reasons why it's so fun.
Hey, what's up, man?
Of those guitars. That's why it's so fun making the replicas of those guitars, because they're just, you know, you can't mess it up. You know, you just
One shot.
You try to make it so it doesn't look too awful labored. You know, you don't want the dings and the relicing to look too intentional, but at the same time, you got to just kind of have fun with it. But hey, Hef, what's going on?
What's going on?
Hey,
bud?
what's up, man? Hey, David. Hey, Rob. Hey, Paul, how are you? I'm trying to bow.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Man, it is a true honor to be talking to all you guys and Paul. Man, just geez, I'm speechless.
It's not all that, man. It's not all that.
So what's your question, bud?
God, so many questions are running through my mind. My mind's like on fire. As far as the 5150 guitar goes, I know this question may have been asked, may have not. Like, after it was painted and built and everything, do you remember about what time or when you saw that guitar actually have the 5150 decals put on it? I know it wasn't done immediately, but
No, you're absolutely right. Those numbers were not put on at the factory. Eddie had put those numbers on by himself. So I can't tell you how long after he had acquired the guitar from us. I don't think it was that long of a time, but he put those on himself. We never put those call letters on. We never put the stars on the guitars at the factory. They were just striped guitars with a logo on the headstock. You know, when Eddie put the stars, you know, the 5150, the reflectors on, that was all Eddie's personal touch, you know.
Did you actually paint the 5150, or was that Ed?
That guitar, yes. I believe I painted that one. That was one of the first guitars.
Yeah, that's the guitar there.
Yeah, Dave's holding up the guitar right now.
Hef, just to answer your question, to my recollection, the numbers did not start off on the guitar on the 84 tour. Somewhere within the first quarter of that tour is when the numbers went on both guitars. And the reason why he put the stars on, identify which guitar Eddie wanted. He would say, give me 1 star or give me 2 stars.
That makes sense.
Call them, you know. He didn't say give me the 5150 or give me the 1984, because at first glance you can't tell the difference.
Sure.
You can now, but back then they were just 2 striped guitars, and no one, you know, who knew back then.
This is guys. I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to stand over here. This is a picture of Eddie right around the jump video period before the 5150 logos were on there. This was right around when they filmed that video, and it was sometime within the tour.
That's my paint job.
Beginning before they even made it on there. So
cool.
You can find pictures.
It's just amazing, Paul. Like, you know I've watched all the old videos, and it's just amazing how you cut that tape, you know, down to the size that it needed to be. You know, because back then, like you've said 1,000 times, you know, there wasn't, you know, the little bitty tape that you can buy now. Like, you cut that down to what size it's got to be. I mean, that's just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, that's a misconception that a lot of people have. You know, a lot of people will paint a Van Halen guitar and just stripe it up with 3/4 inch tape, and then when they pull the tape off, they look at it and they go, "Wow, how come mine doesn't look like Eddie's?" You know, and they don't realize there's a lot of different size tapes, and mine were all crooked and willy-nilly, and you know, it was I definitely had a artistic license to do what I wanted to do there. You know. And I was telling the boys at dinner tonight how I was working for Roger Sadowski for a while in Manhattan, and he had shown me a guitar that the Japanese guys had made, and they made an identical copy of one of my guitars, down to the crazy shaped tapes, right down to mistakes in the tape. And I was amazed. That was the beginning of where people started trying to recreate these guitars. But you know, you could go out now and buy 1/8 inch tape, 1/4 inch tape, 1/2 inch,
Right.
That's all like pinstriping stuff at auto body shops now.
Right.
You know.
Auto body stuff, yeah.
And you could get a really good result by buying, factory cut tape. It's actually cleaner looking, But when I painted those guitars, the first piece of tape started at the heel and it went around the periphery of the body. That's how I started. We started with the heavier tapes. We did the side first. That was the first tape around the edge. and then we finished it with a couple of crosses on the front, and we just went down successively smaller in tape. So the last pieces of tape put on were the smallest ones. And
Gotcha.
then the black stripes, you know, they weren't like electrical tape. They were totally taped out just to expose the area that you wanted to have black.
Yeah, that was done by eye.
That was a lot of work.
I know the one long black stripe going from the where like his, you know, it goes behind the Floyd. You can see, I mean, so many people that replicate that guitar make that
They don't
stripe
get that
perfect,
right. It's
and
not
it's
straight. It's
horribly not perfect.
Are they gone? There they are.
Yeah, Van Halen jobs. I tried to do like a cross using like an X of black and an X of white, and it kind of gave you a little bit of a like a three-dimensional type of look, you know. It was fun. Black and white, you know, the two X's, you know.
Yeah.
That is so awesome.
That's a nice guitar.
Paul,
It's yours, actually. It's Paul.
I'm here.
I do have something that I want to talk to you about. I've talked to Dave about this several times, but I do have a cheap guitar that's an awesome guitar that I want you to put a Floyd on. You may have seen these guitars. I don't know, maybe not. I've got it here with me, and it's one of the OLP. It's a Music Man knockoff, and I want to have a Floyd put on this guitar. That's the only thing that it's missing to not just be a totally awesome guitar, because it plays great, but it's just got that regular tremolo on it.
That would be no problem.
Of course,
to put a Floyd on that guitar.
Of course, I'm trying to.
I've done that to my own.
It needs the nut.
Yeah.
But the back of it, I think, is completely routed for a Floyd.
Well, it's routed for a tremolo, so it's a Floyd Rose or Fender style tremolo. It's enough room back there for either.
Can you guys see that pretty good?
You have to recess and cut that. I've done that for an OLP before.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be, you have to cut into the body, but it's totally possible.
Yeah, there's no problem putting a Floyd on that.
We spoke about that a couple years back. You asked me.
Yeah.
And wasn't ready to do it.
I would love to do that for you. All you got to do is get the guitar up here, you know.
Okay. I mean,
Where are you
can we
located?
do? I'm in Mississippi, believe it or not.
Okay.
It's not New Jersey.
That's not that far of a ride, is it?
Right.
Yeah, right.
It's just
And
south of the Mason-Dixon line, I think.
When I'm gonna send that to you. When I do that, can you put that stamp in the butt of the neck?
And if I put the stamp behind the claw inside the tremolo pocket also.
Okay, yeah. You can put it wherever you want.
I've done that a number of times. But I still have the original stamp that says Unk that I used on all the original Floyd Rose guitars. And if I do any type of Floyd, Van Halen projects, I always put the stamp on for people, you know.
With that kind of guitar,
I can't do.
I'm sorry. Can you do a rear-mounted nut on that?
No problem.
Okay.
I have the technology.
And I'll get your number from David or somebody, and because I want to have that done, and I'd like to have it done by you because you're the originator of that, really.
Well, you know, just go online to theoriginalguitarguy.com. That's the name of my business, The Original Guitar Guy.
The number is 1-866-555.
That's
Yeah,
pizza.
right.
Don't send
6,900.
Don't send a check there.
Hey, a
Jeremy,
question, seriously.
I'll give you his information. No problem.
Okay, would it be better for me to take the guitar apart and send it that way, or
it probably would be cheaper.
Nah,
Okay.
send me the whole guitar with strings on it, and I'll send it back with a Floyd Rose and strings on it.
well, I actually have a Floyd here and everything.
Yeah, send me all you got, and I'll put it all together for you.
Sweet.
But I'd love to do that for you. It'd be no problem.
Yes, I want. That's why I haven't had it done. I mean, I want you to do it. Absolutely, no doubt about it.
Cool. I'll be glad to do it for you. I'm flattered that you asked me.
I don't. My mind is just baffled with. I mean, Paul, have you actually held the original Frankenstrat, the original one? Have you played that guitar?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Wow.
I'll tell you what. I was very lucky to play a lot of those guitars. Eddie would.
Paul, didn't it have high action?
Dude, I can't remember. It was 35 years ago. I'll tell you what. If I played that guitar with high action, when Eddie took it home, it had low action.
I researched for people that have played it and I don't mean to butt in, I apologize, because I know we're accumulating the listeners. But I've heard from people that have played it where they said the action was atrocious back in the day. It was, and that was Eddie just, he was so aggressive and just so good. He had those big hands, the big fingers and whatnot. He could get away with it.
No,
But I don't know if that's true.
He definitely manipulated the guitars. I have to wonder, were we at Kramer the first guys that really coddled to him and gave him very low actions and fine playing guitars?
Yes.
And
this is why I believe that, because as genius as he is, and he is a genius, he has revolutionized the way a guitar is made. Back then, I believe, in my opinion, that he needed a little bit of guidance.
Right.
Because like you had sanded down his neck so thin, it was like a learning process.
Right.
I owned that Us Festival neck.
Right.
This was on the Kramer. That was an R5. That thing was thick. That was like playing a classical guitar.
Yeah, that was a 1 3/4 inch wide neck at the nut.
Yes.
I think he liked that neck.
I didn't mind it personally, and I don't have hands like Eddie has. He's got way bigger hands than me, and I'm a guy that typically likes smaller necks, but that was wide, and it was shortly. I mean, you make guitars fall apart, but obviously,
Right.
I don't know why that neck ever made it on that guitar, because the Kramer and Frankie, all that stuff was prior to that.
Right.
But and then he went to the smaller necks, the 84, the 5150, whatnot, the Bernie Balls, the Wolfgangs. I mean, they're all ridiculously smaller in nut size and width than that guitar. Listen.
Hey, Cody, I've got a question for you.
Yeah. Who's this? Is that F?
Yeah.
This is Hef. Hey, that you at the Us Festival Kramer beat neck just for the record, since you own that neck, did that neck have a finish on it or not?
I do not own that neck anymore. I sold it to a General Motors executive. I did own it. I had it on one of the Fender replica Frankies. It came out back in, 08 days? 07, 08, somewhere around there.
07.
Yeah, somewhere around
07.
there. 08, 09. Yes, 100% a finish on that neck. It was completely coated with the finish. It was not bare. It was a very wide neck. It was your standard. I believe Mike Wolverton told me that I think Sports. Paul, does that ring a bell?
Yeah, Sports.
Out of Canada.
Sports was a company, not in Canada, somewhere up in Connecticut. They made all the original bodies for Kramer when we made the aluminum neck guitars. but I never knew of sports to make a bolt-on neck.
Then I'm incorrect on that. There was a company out of Canada, I believe, that made hockey sticks.
Oh, you're talking about La Cido. That's Robert Gaudin. Yeah. Yeah, that's who that was, yeah.
Montreal?
They were in La Patrie, which is about 2 hours east of Montreal.
Right.
He makes Cody guitars now.
Yeah, yeah.
I have one of his guitars.
Still there.
But if you're looking to make a replica of the off-sensible neck, go find an R5 Kramer neck.
Paul, I have another question.
Go ahead.
Last question. We got more questions.
Okay, that's cool. As far as like asymmetrical goes, because that term is kind of loosely kind of thrown around, and like, you know, because I associate asymmetrical necks with like thinner necks, and I've played some guitars that called to be an asymmetrical neck, and it wasn't thin. So I mean, I know it's you know, thinner on one side and bigger on the other. I mean, what is your definition of an asymmetrical neck?
Well, you're
Treble side, right?
You're correct in assuming that an asymmetrical neck could be a big fat neck or a tiny little skinny neck. The asymmetrical neck, it just has less material on the treble side that Dave's showing us right now. It just falls away from the center of the neck, and we just, you know, chow off some of that material on that treble side. And like I said before, Scott Smith over at Musicraft, they manufacture that neck as a standard part now, and it feels pretty good.
Hef, do you know, if you look, you know what a bass clef is?
Yes.
Like on a staff paper, a bass clef. If you think of a bass clef being the underneath of the neck, where the fat part goes under your thumb.
Correct.
And the thinner part goes into the palm of your hand, that's exactly what asymmetrical is.
So if you like a super thin neck, then what would you call that?
Well, that's going to be like a D neck, which is very shallow. It's not going to be a C. It's going to be more like a D if you look at it.
Okay.
Or what Musicraft calls the Frankie neck. It's very thin.
Okay, that's what I like. Okay. Hey, I'm going to get off of here. Thanks, Paul, for
it was nice to talk to you.
It was nice to talk to you, Dave. Always, Rob. Always.
Awesome, bud.
Thanks,
David Allen, Eric, Johnny. Thanks for getting me in on this, man. I really appreciate it, and thanks again.
Of course. Anytime.
Okay.
I'm gonna continue watching.
How many more questions we have?
Anytime, man. Anytime, Hef.
Dave,
Yeah.
I have one real quick question. I gotta run. My girlfriend's staring at me after you want to talk about that girl guitars.
Okay.
It's for Paul.
Yeah.
Paul, did you ever put a treble bleed on any of Eddie's guitars? Because I have paperwork of a guitar that was given away.
Right.
Or sold one of them. It was after your tenure at Kramer.
Right.
But it gave all the specifications of a treble bleed on the volume pot.
I
Was you aware of that happening?
wasn't aware of that at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
That may be something that he did later on. I do it for all my guitars now. Because obviously you roll the volume back to keep the high end there. Because
Right.
on a normal pot, it gets muddy, right?
Right.
So, okay. I just didn't know if that was like commonplace, but thanks for clearing that up. Guys, I gotta go.
All right, Cody.
Cool. Cody, call me,
We
man.
have to get together. We have to get together.
Cody, you have Paul's number?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
I haven't talked to him in 5 years, but yeah.
Cool.
And listen, I'll call you sometime this weekend. We'll talk. We'll catch up.
Cody, I just requested you two on Facebook, bud, and a little while ago, and yeah, it was great talking to you, but I look
Hey,
in.
listen, it's awesome talking to all of you. I love it. This is what's going on. You guys got me back in the game.
Cool.
Back in the EVHGEAR.
Cool.
Awesome.
Nice. Awesome, that's great.
All right, buddy.
That's
Thank
great.
you.
Paul,
And
Paul,
thanks
I
for
do.
everything.
I do have another question.
That's not done yet.
Okay, bye.
How did you make the relicing look so real? Because I mean, you can tell when people do replicas when they actually did it, and it didn't look real. As opposed, I mean, like the way you did it. I mean, you know, like it looks so real, like it was really.
The trick was dirt.
Really? The magic sheetrock screws.
Yeah.
Whatever I used to relic the guitar, whether it was
the asphalt in the parking lot,
the dragging it around in the parking lot, the chain thrown at the guitar, sheetrock screws, it was a matter of getting a little bit of good old-fashioned dirt or rust on the guitar.
Because I mean, the 5150, you can see it. I mean, if you've paid attention to that guitar, like all of us have, you can see it goes through stages as far as the relicing goes. Was that you or was that Eddie?
No,
that guitar wasn't really relic though.
That wasn't relic.
That was used. He beat the shit out of that guitar over many years.
That had a brand new paint job on it when it was done with no relicing. That and the 1984 guitar.
What? I know that, but I mean, at the where his arm rests on that, you can see how it starts.
That's from him just playing the guitar.
That's from him playing it. Look at the photos.
There wasn't a lot of paint on that. Keep that in mind. Very thin paint.
Mm-hmm. When he first started playing that guitar, it was totally brand new looking.
Right. I know that.
Most of the relicing happened on the Frankenstein version those guitars had on it, you know, not just the one that looks like David Allen's guitar. Those guitars in general, other than the Hot for Teacher guitar, were generally in new shape. The Hot for Teacher, since it was the last guitar that Paul made, that had the relicing on it that Paul did.
Okay.
But generally speaking, these Frankenstein replica looking ones all had the relicing on it. That was very early. That was 81, 81 into early 82 when these guitars were made. You got to realize that Paul left Kramer in January or February of 83. So it was literally 18 months of building guitars. There was very little time to build all those guitars.
And if you look at the 5150 in 84, right around the beginning of the tour when Eddie was playing it, before the space tape was on, all it had was one little scratch right around here, one little white scratch. And basically the guitar was like brand new. And then if you look at it a quarter of the way through the tour, halfway, in the end, it was starting to become really relic. And that was just like these guys said, just from normal play wear. And then from the 84 tour to the 5150 tour, you're talking about 2 years.
Guitar he played.
Right, and then you started seeing all the wear here where the elbow was and everything else. And I mean, you know, there's articles of him just throwing it in the back of a pickup truck.
Yeah.
Right.
The
5150 and the 84 are nothing but normal play wear from what I'm aware of.
Hey, Paul, can you explain the one red stripe on the 5150? Is that really a paint drip, or what is that? Was that done on purpose?
It's got to be a paint drip.
Yeah,
it is a paint drip.
It's in here. Yeah. It's right. Definitely a drip.
That's typically where the tape will lift a little bit.
Yeah, you can see it on this guitar here. That was just a mistake, a little bit of drip in the paint.
I mean,
yeah.
That's how that one stripe is how you can tell a real replica from a really good replica. Would you guys agree with that?
You know, a lot of people these days are catching that, and I mean, I know on Johnny's got it on his GMW. I have it on my guitar. There's, you know, they're on most of those guitars.
There's that one. I have that on mine. But one of the things that a lot of people missed up until recently was the black stripe that went down through here, right where the 5150 is. It's almost like he just cut the tape off and then kind of it took a sideways jolt a little bit, and you can't tell unless you're really looking for it because it's.
That's what I was talking about earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that a lot of people do miss in their replicas.
Yeah.
Hey, Hef, I don't mean to cut it short, but we got to get some more questions happening.
That's cool.
And we got to stop this.
Yeah, it's getting really late where these guys are. They still have to drive home.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah,
Appreciate
we
it,
got
man.
about a 2.5-hour drive to get back to Dave's place.
Yeah.
Hopefully there won't be traffic.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Hef.
Yeah, thanks,
Go
Paul.
on, Hef.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Hef.
Take care, buddy.
Yes. Yes. Okay, real quick. Paul Rodden. Why were the horns so big on the Kramer ad guitar?
Oh, that's that different product.
That's the old Walker body. When we first went from the aluminum neck guitars, we did one trade show with a line of guitars that were designed by a fellow named Steve Kaufman, and that was a body shape that he had come up with. They were called T.J. Walker, and I don't know who T.J. Walker was. It was just a trade. It was just a trade name.
William Shatner.
It was like a cop show.
Yeah, but we were just trying to make a Stratocaster guitar that didn't look like a Stratocaster.
Yeah, that would be right.
And then shortly after that, I designed the Pacer body. And where I came up with the final shape was up at that company, Sports, in Connecticut. We went up there and we decided that our Stratocaster shape was too close. You know, we got a cease and desist letter about the body shape and the headstock shape. So up at Sports, Andy Papiccio and I took a ride up there one day, and I just went out in the workshop with one of the foremen, and we just started sanding that body down until it looked good to us, and that's how we got it to look so good.
It really is a pretty looking body. It's
Yeah.
really, it's like she's like a lady.
It's like yours, Dave. No, your guitar. The guitar.
Dave's getting killed tonight. Really.
Oh, okay.
No, the guitar. I didn't mean it that way.
I know it's super late where you guys are. Let's take two more. Let's take two more quick questions. Our buddy, I don't know if we asked this already. Our buddy Vinny wanted to know. Ask Paul, how long did it take to build the Kramer body? Did we ask that already?
No, but I don't understand the question.
Just how long did it take you to build like a typical like Van Halen guitar?
Hang on a second. I think I know why he's asking that question.
Okay.
He wants to go to a lumber store and get a block of wood.
Okay.
And he doesn't have any tools, but he wants to cut a body and he wants to make a Kramer style body. Him and his dad.
Okay.
So he wanted to know how long it took. You know, I mean,
Well,
you guys had tools. So.
I would have to say that if I took a square block of wood and went out into my workshop and tried to create a body, before I got it ready for paint, it would probably be about 4 hours worth of work.
That's with all your experience.
With my experience and all whatever tool, basic, garage shop tools that I have, a bandsaw, a sander, a router, good hand tools. About 4 hours worth of work, and then you got to paint it.
So probably
Vinny,
20 for the average.
Vinny, I suggest, if you're listening to us, Vinny, please take my advice. Call Musicraft. Have your dad call Musicraft. It's Musikraft. Call them, order a body. The body's like $200. It's not that expensive.
And it's ready to paint.
And it's you're going to paint it yourself. You get the body and you get the neck.
And they're right
And
on
it's
the money.
perfect.
You
They'll
can't get any
fit
closer
together
than
properly.
And it's a lot less work.
Why reinvent the wheel?
I can, during the weekend or whatever, I can write down everything you need to go get a guitar. And if you want, you can send all those parts to Paul, and he'll put the guitar together. He will not paint it, but he will put that guitar together for you. I don't know how much it'll cost, but to have Paul put the guitar together the same way he put it together for Eddie Van Halen, I think it's worth it.
That's an available service.
Priceless.
So,
It's priceless.
That right there is worth its weight in gold. You're going to have your guitar put together by the guy who actually put them together for Eddie Van Halen. So that's what I would do if I were you.
I agree with that.
What, does Dave live in a music store?
He's got so much crap. It's amazing.
Dave, are you married?
He hit me.
To his guitars.
Well, I was gonna say, if he is, his wife must be the best wife ever.
Nothing? Okay.
Look at that! Wow. What's that? What is that?
That
Looks
looks
like
like
basswood or
basswood.
something.
That's
Yeah.
absolutely basswood.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all beat up.
That looks good.
All righty. One more question.
All right. All right. Okay.
Johnny, you looking for a question?
Okay, I have it. I have it. All right. Say hey, Teddy.
I have to say,
Go ahead.
I just have to say one thing. With those old Schaller pickups that we were talking about before, I have 2 sets of Super 70s, and I have a good friend of mine who owns one of the Schaller pickups, and I swapped out the magnet in it with an Analytical 8 magnet, and it sounds very close to a Super 70. Like,
Is this Teddy?
Like, very close, and it's amazing. Like, they're really amazing. If you could get them for cheap, you could get them for literally nothing right now, and they're great pickups. I suggest all of you, if you don't have them, just go out and buy a bunch of them, because they're out there and they're not hard to get.
Right.
That's awesome.
Is that a question or a comment?
That's a comment.
That's a comment.
That's a good comment.
Okay. Okay. All right. They can't hear you, Teddy. If you talk, they can't hear you. I mean, you can't hear them. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But do you have a question? Do you have a question for Paul?
Who's Paul?
Not really. I bought
He's 17.
that was it. That like the Philip Teal guitar, and just wanted to know what he thought about that, and he answered.
Oh,
So
okay.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay.
Paul, you can answer that the same way.
We're all slap happy over here.
All right.
Okay. You're good, Teddy?
Yeah, thank you. Good night.
Okay. You're welcome, Teddy. I'll see you soon, Teddy. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, Teddy.
Bye,
Bye,
Teddy.
Teddy.
Awesome.
Johnny, it's getting a little late over here. I think.
I
we're
know.
gonna have to,
I
end
know.
this one,
I
okay?
know. Well,
One
Teddy,
final one?
Teddy's on the same area, same place you are, so he was like half asleep when he was saying that stuff. So I think he was like talking to his sleep to you guys. But hey, okay, we'll call it. Even though we have 27 people watching us, this is huge.
Yeah, I know.
This has
You
been
know,
We'll do part 3 sometime.
28. Now we have 28 people.
I know my brother's out there. Hi, James.
Well, cool. Hey, we'll wrap it up. But you guys know the thing. Don't hang up. Well, hey, man. Awesome. This has been very, very cool to have Paul Unkert with David Nesdahl, Rob Johnson, Anthony Sajazi.
Rodin.
Yes. To have all those guys all in one room, I predicted that, and it came true. So
Cool.
very, very
Johnny,
cool.
we're coming out to your neck of the woods real soon, buddy.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. David Allen Wright. Amazing dude, you guys. This guy, he knows his
Cool.
stuff. He
You're
really knows
awesome,
his
Dave.
stuff. Eric Broadbent, another cool cat, another staple.
Absolutely.
Very, very cool. Thank you to everybody who took a part of this, and I'm sorry if we couldn't get
Thank
to
you,
your
Paul.
questions.
Hey,
was
hang
many
on a
different
second,
things.
Johnny. Johnny, just 1 second. Anyone who hasn't had their questions answered, and if you still have questions, please put them in the comments section of this video, and we can get to Paul and answer your questions right, as soon as possible. Paul would be happy to give to answer any questions if you want to call him. We'll figure all that out. It's unfortunate that we have that the video will get to all your questions, and if you just keep asking them, we will answer any questions.
Paul, give out your website address.
Yeah,
again.
if you want to contact me, I have a webpage called theoriginalguitarguy.com, and it has all the contact information, phone numbers, address, it's all there.
If you need setups, builds, anything you need.
Yes,
Call them in.
that's the big thing.
Repairs.
If you have any repairs that you need done to your guitars, you want a guitar built by Paul, please, by all means, he'd be happy to build you a guitar. He will not paint a Van Halen motif, but he will do everything short of doing that.
There it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a website.
Look at that guy.
And I just like to say, Paul was fantastic about asking questions. We did this last hangout, and I called him a couple of days later just to say thank you. And he was fantastic. He answered all my questions. He answered a couple questions I didn't ask. he's a great person, and again, we thank him for inviting us into his home and putting this on for us. We really appreciate this.
It's been fun. It's been fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank
you very much, Paul. Thank you very much.
Yes, yes, and real quick, Paul Rodden, was the 5150 a two-piece or one-piece body?
What do you say?
Is the 5150 guitar a one-piece body? I believe it is.
Yeah. I would have to say probably one piece. Yeah. There was no more than 2 or 3 piece bodies, but on the whole, they were one-piece bodies back then. Trees were bigger back then.
Okay. Vinny says thank you, everybody. Mario says thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Vinny.
Everybody says thank you. So, okay, I'll wrap this up. Don't hang up. Thank you, everybody. Eric Broadbent, David Allenwright, David Nesdahl, Paul Unkert, Anthony Sajazi.
All right, you got it, Johnny.
Yes. Alex Zipkin. I'm doing shout-outs. Devin Hall.
I got one.
Johnny Beane. Yes.
No,
okay.
not that one. I got one here.
Okay, cool. JohnB.com. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll do this again. Awesome.
Thank you, Rob Johnson.
Thanks,
Rob
guys.
Johnson. Subscribe to everybody's channels. I'll put everybody's channels below. Subscribe to everybody. Share the love. All right, JohnB.com. Thank you, everybody, and good night.
Cheers.